Hi boys, how you doing? I thought I'd do a video tonight on multiplying fractions. Now, we have previously done adding and subtracting fractions and a few other things to do with fractions like simplest form and equivalent fractions. And multiplying fractions is a little bit different, but it does build on your knowledge that you have learnt previously. So this is straight from your textbook. I thought I'd go through this first and then do some examples with you. So when you're multiplying fractions, fractions do not need to have the same denominator to be multiplied. So that's kind of handy. Before you start, you don't have to do anything else to the fractions to change them at all. To multiply fractions, all you need to do is multiply the numerators and then multiply the denominators. So in casual terms, you would say multiply across the top, multiply across the bottom. However, there are some little tricks that are going to make this process faster for you and easier for you. So before you start multiplying, there's a couple of things that you can do to make it quicker for you. Two things in particular. You can do what is called cancelling. And essentially what you're doing is a division. So in this example, you can see there is 3/5 multiplied by what was 4/8. And what they've been able to do there is to simplify the 4/8 so that the numbers are smaller, but it's the same size fraction. And that makes the multiplication heaps easier. So instead of doing 3 times 4, they've cancelled the 4 and the 8, and it's become 3 times 1 and 5 times 2. And that means as well that when you do that multiplication, to simplify your answer, which you always do, it's heaps easier because the numbers are smaller. So you've done, instead of 4/8, they've found the equivalent fraction of 1/2. And that's called cancelling vertically. Okay, so between the fractions, numerator and denominator. The other thing you can do is to cancel diagonally. So we can see that there is a pair of fractions, parts of the fractions here. There's a 3 of a numerator on this side, and there's a 6 of the denominator on the other side. And what you can actually do is cancel using that pair, okay? So I know that 3 goes into 6 once, so I can put the 1 there instead, and that becomes a 2. I leave the rest of my fractions as it is, so that example would then become 1/5 times 4/2, okay? And then I would multiply across the top and across the bottom. 4/10, okay? And then I would simplify my answer. Okay, the only thing you're not allowed to do when cancelling is to cancel horizontally. So you can't just cancel across the top and you can't cancel across the bottom, okay? It must have either vertical cancellation or diagonal cancellation. So never across the top and never across the bottom. A couple of other things to remember. A whole number can be written as a fraction with a denominator of 1, and you will do some practice questions with those later on. And then you would also see some of these phrases of the multiplication sign, times, lots of, and then product. And that all means the same thing as multiplying. Okay? 2 more things. A mixed number must be changed to an improper fraction before multiplying, and we know how to do that, changing from mixed number to improper. And the last thing is, of course, we simplify our answers. So let's do some examples. My first example is 2/3 multiplied by 1/5. Okay? So this is a simple example that I can't or don't need to do any cancelling. Okay, and this is just to show you what you need to do. So 2 times 1, multiply my numerators, that's 2, and 3 times 5, 15. Now, also for this answer, we always check if it's in its simplest form, and 2/15 is already in its simplest form, so there's nothing more to do. Let's go number 2. Can you hear my MasterChef in the background? All right. 3/4 multiplied by 8/9. Okay, Now, I'm looking for perhaps a pair of numbers or a fraction that can be simplified by cancelling vertically or diagonally. Okay, so if you're really clued on, you can see here that we can cancel diagonally. I might just change my pen so it's a bit clearer for you to see. Okay, so here and here we can cancel diagonally. So 3 goes into 9 once, and that becomes a 3, and then here and here. Okay, so my 8 becomes 2 over 1. Okay, so my new fraction is 1 over 1 times 2 over 3. Okay, and then I multiply across the top and across the bottom, and I have 2/3. Okay. Number 3. So this is perhaps the most challenging example that I'm going to show you today, but in the end it's pretty straightforward. So we've got 4/8 of, which means the same things as multiply, don't forget, 3/6. Okay, so here I can simplify both of these fractions by cancelling vertically. So 4/8 is the same as 1/2, and 3/6 is also the same as 1/2. That wasn't even that hard after all. Now I multiply across the top and across the bottom, so I've got 1 and 2 times 3 is 4. Okay, and that's my simplest form. Alright, now you're obviously going to come across many more examples of multiplying fractions, but remembering these key features of multiplying the numerators and the denominators. But before you do that, try to make it easier for yourself by cancelling vertically, so from one numerator to a denominator, or diagonally across the fraction from a numerator to a denominator. The only thing you can't do is cancel horizontally. Okay, and of course we simplify our final answer. All right, good luck.